What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode with AB Investments. It's like we were talking with the market maker yesterday, guys, and the day before yesterday. You've seen what happened. Um, I told you don't be surprised if you see the run up continuing on either Monday or even later on at the end of the business day. You guys heard me in the previous video, of course, so I don't need to revalidate it, but you can be my own judge. Now, here's the thing. If you want to see how bad the fingerprints of the market maker was on today, price action, let me tell you how. Look at the options chain and look at exactly where we closed. Look what was on the line, like right on that price point to see. When I went on Tony DiNaro's, my friend Tony DiNaro's live as a guest, the other side, mainly the market maker, looks for the least amount of damage that they have to go through, or basically the most profitable point at that point, lose or win, most profitable point at all times. That's just a capitalist mindset. And if you see that, this was like perfect writing. Like, I want you to pay attention to that, or to this. You saw that we closed at 552, zero on the day, basically. Like, we didn't go higher and we didn't go lower. We just did nothing. By the way, that's one way to know that if a stock is being manipulated or not. However, it's not the first time that it happened, so we'll go along. But look at the 550 strike price. There was like over 39,000 calls on that strike price, and there was like about a 32,000 puts on that price as well. So 32, 34, something like that. It's in the 30s. So point is, we saw that the puts obviously are out of the money, so the people lost who played those puts. And the calls, even though that it closed above 550, it was only 2 cents. So their break-even price point was not met. So none of these people made money. The only option they had, and look how tantalizing this is. So the only option they had was they could either just lose the money, which is at that point is an inevitable loss, or exercise their calls to buy the shares. But think of it at that point. Who would do that? The market maker knows that already. Who would take a double loss? You exercise at a higher cost, because in other words, in order for them to exercise their calls, the 550 calls, they would basically have to pay, if they played like, let's say 10 options, they technically would have to exercise 1,000 shares at 550, which means in order for them to even be able to exercise, they would have to have 550 times 1,000, and there you go, on hand. If they don't, then the inevitable is the inevitable. They lose regardless, the money. No one will exercise. The market maker knows no one is going to exercise that, because they already lost on paying for the premiums of those calls. So therefore, that's a chalk loss. Why would they take another? Because in their minds, they could buy shares at 550 regardless. It's not like it's a burning opportunity. You know, it's not like the stock was at, it's not like they bought the option strike price at $2. You know, here's the thing I want to teach you guys, or let you guys know, for the people that don't know this. Back in the June run-up, the reason why I was able to exercise a lot of option calls back in June 2021, and for those who know, you know, is mainly because the highest at the time in the options chain was $40. At that time, when we were battling $8 and $9, you know, you OG folks, that were there for the battle of 801, you know what I'm talking about. But however, the option chain at the time had no 50s or 100s or whatever. The biggest amount of YOLO at the time was $40. And if you were stacking up on the $40 strike price, you were at that time looked at as an option YOLOer that was wild or crazy and blah, 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 and so forth. Right now, people are betting on the 145 strike price like it's nothing, like there's no tomorrow. So you know what that means, right? Anyways, so at that time, there was many calls that I've bought that were expired at $14 strike price, at $10. And let me mind you that at the time, the price was around the 8s and the upper 7s. So even then, it still was like a risky play. So if I didn't time and I didn't play the options and also use or utilized a little bit of a luck, even though I don't believe in luck much, but if I didn't play it that way and used the technicals that work in seeing the moving averages of the stock and all that, we were set up back then for another pump. And perhaps either the MOAS at the time, we didn't know what was, is going to reach 74 and then just come right back down. But I was setting myself up for the pump regardless. And when that happened, I came in at the right timing of buying options. See, this is everything about options you need to know. Your value, your price point value of how much you bought it for, and the extrinsic value of how long it's going to last for. And when will it expire? So, at that time, when the price was already at 30 for AMC, when it moved, from the 8s and the 9s and the 10s, and it was in the 20s, 30s, and then the 40s, me personally, AB was already like, okay, sell a lot of those options. And then for a big chunk, I was able to settle and exercise because I already won for the options that I sold. I had enough money. And then more importantly, I was buying an AMC share at the time for basically technically $10 or $14 when the price of the stock was already in the 30s and the 40s. Now, when I exercised those calls, the one thing I want you to pay attention to, and I've mentioned this back when I first documented that experience back in 2022, in the beginning of 2022, and when I first opened up the channel. So feel free to go back and look. But the one thing that is important that I want you to pay attention to is the reason why it was hurting the other side and it was helping the price even go up and up and up and keep skyrocketing is because while I only have to pay for $14 strike price, so basically for 100 shares per option, I have to have $14 a piece, which means I have to have $1,400 to buy 100 shares at basically $14 a piece. Now, when I had that money, because the run-up was happening and it was continuing to go up, the problem for the market maker is that they have to go and buy those shares that I'm exercising for me to fulfill my order. And what's the biggest catch here? They have to buy it at the current price. They can't just go buy a share at $14. That's my strike price. I chose when to exercise it. You see what I'm saying? So there's ways to freaking play with the system and play with them when the cards are in our favor to an unridiculous amount. Now, it brings up another question. Were they really going out there buying real shares to give anyways? Who knows? All we know is what we see in front of us and all we can react to. So at the end of the day, don't be surprised. Just to wrap most things up, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments section. If you have anything that if you have any shilling stuff that you want to say, you know where to put them. I don't block people in general, like unless you're causing some crazy stuff. And more importantly, enjoy your weekend, because this Monday could be the continuance of the run up. Now that the options and the market maker is in good, cool waters. I mean, they screwed people up on the options chain beautifully today. Unfortunately, that is. Beautifully as in like they did a very good job for themselves and they killed us with that. Now, they didn't kill us. They didn't kill the movement. They killed the people who YOLO'd. And I was warning people. I told you how to see it and what was going through my mind. So enjoy this weekend, and we'll be back on the battlefield on Monday. Much love, AV Investments.